Welcome to ToV Live. And yes, my lungs are terrible tonight. It is Valhalla time. Hello, everybody. Welcome to
time.
the ToV Podcast, episode 47. I am Ryan, aka Tales of Valhalla, or you can call me Tales if Valhalla, if you got lungs like me right now, is a very hard thing to say. With me tonight.
Someone in the comments tell us, how often do you talk in your daily life about Tales of Valhalla, and specifically you want to talk about Ryan, and you refer to him as Tales. I'm curious.
There are a few people actually that say that.
Yeah.
I'm generally curious to know
I'm
who
known
you.
as Tales now, so
What?
That's
like crazy to me.
Yeah, why not?
I put that joke in the description of the Christmas episode of the Tabletop Battlefield. Does that count?
Yeah, it does actually. Yeah.
So at least there's one there.
There you go.
Anywho, with me tonight, we have Sir Roguescaper, Josiah. Good to see you, sir. We got Sir Joe Crazy, and we have Jason, aka Rock Robotics, from the Tabletop Battlefield. Welcome, guys, tonight to the podcast, to this live recording, and my goodness, what a fun time we're gonna have, because we have no idea what we're doing tonight, because, well, personally, I am still very much sick with whatever this lung thing is. According to a doctor, it's an upper respiratory infection, and the medication I took this last week hasn't helped at all, so we are still powering through tonight, though. So tonight, what we're planning on doing is we're going to go through some comments from the last podcast, just a few, and then we might do an audible, but we might read through some Thormun's journal, and we might look at a squad or hero or two, your basic podcast stuff, and then probably close kind of early, or according to what Sir Joe Crazy says, on time, for once, tonight. So that is the plan tonight, and we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I mean, I am okay besides my lungs, but that's a terrible place to be in right now. So we'll see how this goes, but we might cut things a little bit early. We'll see. All right. So for right now, let us get into some comments from the last podcast. Let me bring them up.
Yeah. What do the fine people from the Tales community have to say? What do they got?
Let's take a look at it. Okay, first off, and it's kind of a hard thing to see, but I have some comments from people from Reddit. Basically, one of them talking about the when I did a segment on the terrain, and how possibly the terrain system for Heroscape might be Renegade Saving Grace, and so we just have a couple comments from the Reddit side of the community. N3ZZ1N says, I might, as I have already a bit, but I'll also go heavy into source. And this was interesting. I had a few comments of people saying, well, I'm getting source, so why would I get Renegade? Which was very, I thought was very interesting type of thoughts. And then Finding Tyranny also says, nope, I was recently given a dev kit for Source, and it is much higher quality than Heroscape. I'll be using Source to play Heroscape on moving forward. So yeah, I just and thank you though for those commenting on Reddit, and really bumping me up on Reddit actually a little bit, because I'm posting all my videos there. I'm just dumping them there. But no, thank you guys for the comment. I just found that kind of interesting. I had a comment or two on YouTube as well. About that, mentioning Source. Do we think Source might be a competitor to this? I mean, I don't think they're big enough for that, but it could take a few people away from, their interest in getting Heroscape terrain. What do you guys think?
Like, I'm super glad that people are mentioning Source. I would imagine that a lot of people think as Source as like, oh, this is just, a competitor. Think of it as a competitor. The community thinking it as a competitor of Heroscape. By all chance, you take on our Juggernaut, right? That's what I imagine majority of, but people like accepting that into their like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna take this opposed to what Renegade. I mean, they might get both in the end anyway, but the fact that people, this community is saying, hey, we like Source. Source is cool. Like it works. I mean, I haven't played used some of my Source stuff, for Heroscape yet. So I don't know. I know the tile is a little bit smaller. But the only thing that I don't have is any line of sight blockers really for it. So. And it's not super compatible with what we already have, but you could probably get some good 3D printed stuff to put on the board. People will probably get around it, but no, I think it's very valid. I mean, the Source tiles are like really good quality, so I'm just really glad people are mentioning it.
Mm-hmm.
I view it as, game systems, if you're kind of committed to a brand, I have these cameras I use, and I'm like, part of me sometimes wants to change to a different lens and different camera, but the cost to switch over would be so much more than sticking. Some people are just kind of sticking where they're at, So if you have a lot of Heroscape, it makes sense to buy more Heroscape stuff to kind of add to it. I think Source kind of serves a different but similar role in all of this. I haven't played with Source tiles yet, but I'm excited about using Source for D&D because it's a lot more tactile and mobile. Whereas Heroscape kind of is blocked in, which I think is good for, like long-standing tournaments and big kind of game conventions where you just want all the maps kind of not shifting or moving around. So I think they serve their own roles, and I think people can have fun using both for different side of things.
I think you got a point, Josiah. Jason, what do you think? Because I think I'm on the same stance too, to where I actually just want to use both. Probably, and the best of both worlds, basically, in that situation, depending on how Renegade is going to be using or producing their tiles. But we know really zero about that. But what do you think about that, Jason?
I mean, just from a terrain perspective, they're similar but incompatible products. So you would think that for the most part, the market's going to choose one over the other. Now, it could be that the Heroscape tiles appeal just to the Heroscape community, and that's what they use for Heroscape, and Source, takes over more the non-Heroscape stuff, whether it's Dungeons and Dragons, BattleTech, or whatever. I guess if Renegade's going to kind of keep the same tiles we've had forever with Heroscape, we kind of know what kind of quality to expect, so it may come down to a quality decision, it may come down to a price decision, because we don't really know what Renegade's going to charge for the Heroscape tiles yet, so just some of those kind of things. But I could see it definitely being a competing product on the terrain front.
Yeah. I think it depends on how they expand in the future. Because I think Adventure Together Games, it has room to grow, and I think they're going to give it like good 5 years or so. They might end up being, because I personally, I don't think they're as strong as a competitor as they could be right now, because they're just getting started.
Heroscape's got a lot of time, and
right.
Advantage of Heroscape, you got the castles, you got the bridges, you got a lot more structures that kind of integrate with the terrain a lot more directly. Source doesn't have that. They may probably have plans to bring that stuff in, but I want to build a castle. Yeah. I want to build a waterfall. I want these unique terrain features. I think that's really going to be the deciding feature for a lot of people is, how easy they are to get, how easy they are to integrate, and, what do you have to offer?
It will be interesting to see. I mean, because I know Adventure Together Games at the same time, they don't really want to be competitive, even though they are. They want to, try and work towards, like, they are a separate entity. They not working with Renegade, but working just alongside, doing their own thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that happens in the future. Anyway, thank you so much for those comments. M3ZZ1 and Finding Tyranny on Reddit. All right, and then let's see. We have this next comment from I don't have no idea who this guy is. I think his name is Paul though. But I'll read his comment. It says, "I've never made the connection about a troll. Troll. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. Can someone read that for me, please? Joe, can you read that?
Hold on. I gotta pull it up.
I gotta pull it up here if you want me to read it.
All right, go ahead, Josiah.
I never made the connection about Trollticore being a troll version of a manticore, and the tidbit about the original description of a manticore apparently being them trying to describe a tiger is fascinating. What changed with Wave 7? I apparently glossed over that discussion.
No, I don't remember that part of the discussion when it comes to Wave 7. Someone want to clarify? I think that was
reference to the War Council joining
Okay.
in the rules and helping kind of advance the game further.
Yeah, and I think that I know that was more of a Jeremy comment, and he's currently not with us right now, so that might something we have to shelve until later. But thank you so much, Garanex, for that comment. And then Anthony D9543 says, I like this segment, talking about one of the squads and hero segment. Brunak is so fun. Definitely is. Definitely is. And then, one last comment. Let's see here. Oh, and here's hold on a second. We got on the live chat Justin, one of our regular viewers there, giving us a comment saying, a waterfall would be awesome. I've tried to replicate a waterfall with various success because I love the microcorp agents and wanted them to get both height and water bonuses. Yes. I mean, yeah, with Source, I think one of the things, I mean, they do have water tiles actually within their thing, but waterfalls and stuff, I mean, that there's not finesse yet with their system. And that's going to take some time. So, okay. And then last comment here we have from Wayne saying the Ironclad Collective Squad and the Scoredire Bug Squads, oh yes, should be made common. He makes the edit down here. The Frostclaws and at least two of the three Dawn Raider Syndicate squads cannot really be converted into commons. This is what I was talking about. Would some of the squads, could Renegade be making common squads out of them? And I think Wayne's just basically expressing, like, some could work, some couldn't work. I mean, if it's the bugs, honestly, I think that if they're telling me instead of buying a unique squad of bugs, I buy like 4 squads worth of bugs, I don't mind that at all, actually. You know, if they, you know.
I mean, I think regardless, you should be buying multiple versions of the bugs. But
regardless,
taking them to one army though, that's different. You know, like I would love to have multiple bugs, you know. But can I take them to the army?
And speaking from the NGC side, where we kind of were trying to, you know, recreate those characters that were presented initially before they revealed that they were coming back, we kept on going up against the wall because we wanted to be true to what was revealed. But we're like, this is like a mindless swarm army with thousands of bugs. It's like we kept on bumping into that unique barrier. So I, for one, would love just a bunch of tiny little bugs on the battlefield.
Bugs on the squad, yeah, like NIDS. Like, definitely like NIDS.
Bugs,
you know?
are always a swarm in sci-fi.
Yep.
You never find just small numbers of them, unless it's the very beginning of something much, much worse about to happen.
I mean,
you got the queen.
You wonder what, because I mean, Heroscape, really, when it comes to competitive play, it's not like you can have like Warhammer style. Like, of course, this is just me guesstimating because I've never played Warhammer or Warhammer 40k, but you shouldn't have like, or when it comes to Heroscape competitive play, I mean, usually you're roughly maybe your biggest army with like within like 300 points has maybe a dozen to 20 miniatures max. So I mean, you do have to worry about, you think about that balance too, is that you can't have, I mean, I love a lot of bugs, but you can't have too many, and so there comes that points balance as well, I think.
For sure.
Yeah.
Justin, again, in the live comments here, says the Burrow Breaker should get a name change to be Uncommon Hero.
Those guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, because the Burrow Breaker, based on the name alone, isn't a very unique name.
No.
The Burrow Breaker. Unless it's like, you know, Sir Drake Alexander, the Burrow Breaker. You know, like, that makes it more unique feeling. But if it's just going to be Burrow Breaker, then why can't I take multiples? What's unique about that name?
No.
So.
Or just change it to Johnson B. Burrowbreaker, and then
Exactly.
the name. Give it your personality.
Exactly. It's it all comes down to what's going to happen March 1st. And it's like a lot of people. I mean, scandal or no scandal, it's like something that everybody is anticipating eagerly or otherwise. So we will have to see what happens. Although I know there's one thing though, it's all going to be painted. So we're gonna whatever these things come in, and even if they're like a reformed miniature, they're gonna be a painted representation of whatever they're going to be devising. So that's going to be an interesting thing as well. So hold on.
You know, they're all going to be painted, or there's going to be painted sets.
For the miniatures.
Yeah. We know there's going to be some painting going on.
As far as I know, unless they misspoke, all those miniatures should be painted.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could find the exact phrasing, but I think it wasn't like it wasn't. I think they would be aware of the pushback if they announced pre-painted, and it's like the arena of Planeswalkers. It's like. The heroes are pre-painted, but all the squads aren't. Yeah,
I didn't get that impression.
How to make everybody unhappy? You can half pre-paint and half not.
Yeah, that would make me unhappy. That would make people who want pre-painted unhappy. Everyone would be. That would be a field day. That would be great.
Oh dear. Okay, and Justin's saying Friday, March 1st, Renegade Con, Saturday, March 2nd, Minnesota tournament, going to be a great weekend. It's amazing how all these tournaments are just popping up everywhere. Just at the very least all over the U.S. I don't know about like the rest of the world. If it's not the rest of the world, it's going to be soon. We need to take over the world. This needs to happen. It needs to happen. All right. Thank you, Wayne, so much for that comment. And thank you everybody who's been commenting on these podcasts. Always appreciate it. Always appreciate the insight and your thoughts on any of the subjects pertaining to the greatest game of all time, Heroscape. All right, now let us get into the next segment, which I was like, we're gonna probably throw an audible here, because our resident lore master is currently not with us. So one of our original plans was to go through Thormun's journal, and we still might go through one maybe, but right now, and I know Joe's probably thinking, oh boy, here he goes.
I'm not thinking that.
But what we're gonna do first, to buy some time, we're gonna go through a planned squad that we're gonna try and cover tonight, and we will do that first for squads and heroes. So, and see if I can give my do this as short as possible and give my throat a rest after this is all done, because my goodness, I just feel awful. All right, so. Let's first start when it comes to squads and heroes. The next one, now we're moving into, we're out of the B's, and we're moving into the C's alphabetically. And we first have, for your viewing pleasure and your consideration for classic Heroscape squads and heroes, the Capon Gladiators. And let me go through their stats real quick. Comes from Einar. They're human, common squad. Gladiators, rebellious, medium 5, 1 life, move of 5, range of 1, attack of 3, defense of 3, 70 points. Their abilities are human gladiator hero bonding. Before taking a turn with the Capon Gladiators, you may first take a turn with any human gladiator hero you control. And they have a thing called Initiative Advantage. If all of your order markers are on Gladiator Army cards, you may add 1 to your initiative roll for every order marker on the Capon Gladiators Army card, up to a maximum of +3 for Initiative Advantage. So no, these guys are interesting. Um, I mean, they're definitely great with the bonding because you basically take any gladiator hero that you have and merge them with them. What do you guys think, Josiah? Is this a favor of yours? I know that like when it comes to this particular squad, like a financial cost, they are kind of hard to get, and they're kind of rarer to get too, I think.
Yeah, no, they are quite costly if you're looking for a new Capuan squad.
Mhm.
They're upwards of $90 to $100 for them, and you need multiples to get their full use.
Yes.
But these are actually one of the first squads I painted for Heroscape, so I have a soft spot in my heart for them. Really, really nice to paint. The hardest part is the white kilts, but they're not, or skirts or whatever they're wearing. But it's not too hard with a bit of practice. But thematically, these guys are great. They are just one of my favorite teams to play. You know, you bring them with Spartacus and any other gladiator of your choice, and you're wrecking in the right setups. So they are deadly and powerful.
Yeah, Justin in the chat saying Spartacus, Crixus, and 3 squads. Yes, how much is that worth? Joe, what do you think about these guys?
I might have to get some of these 3D printed because I like melee bonding a lot, and I only have 1 squad of them originally, and I forgot about the initiative advantage. I think if you play Capuan Gladiators and you take, trying to think of a good build. I think by the end of the podcast, I'll have a good build for them, where I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll definitely take this to a tournament because I've never seen them. I've been to a lot of tournaments. I've never seen anyone play them. So I'm gonna be stoked when I go to a tournament and I see some of these because not a very common thing to see. And is that because they're really expensive? Or is it because they're just not as good as people think they are? Maybe it's what are the Jandar horses that everyone's loving now? Why can't I think of the name?
Templar Cavalry.
The Templar, Cavalry, maybe it's one of those situations where it's like somebody will use it, wreck an entire tournament, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta go out and get a Capuan Gladiators." But yeah, people are sleeping on these probably. Very possible. Completely forgot about the initiative advantage. So
I know that I ran skirmishes with, because I have a squad worth of these, and so with this squad, and the thing is with they're great with like Crixus, and they're great as long as you're dealing like tournament wise on like a higher point value, because Spartacus is great with them, but Spartacus is 200 points. And
I was gonna say, I was gonna try to see if someone can. What's he in Delta?
Yeah, let's look it up now.
Yeah, and
I think he might be 180 in Delta. Let's see here.
Yeah, maybe.
That's still pretty.
Justin's saying 200 points for Spartacus is crazy, and it was too long of a wait between waves 4 and 9. I mean, they have their advantages, but I'll tell you with the skirmishes that I had with them, the gladiators I had, and it was kind of a fairly even point army. I think well within like 2 to 250 points of gladiators and Crixus against Blastotrons and Gladiatrons, and Blastotrons and Gladiatrons made mincemeat out of these guys. They did pretty good. So I guess it just depends on what army you're going against, and trust me, it doesn't stop me from wanting to play them in the future, because I think with the bonding, they have an initiative advantage. I think they're good. It just depends on what you're playing with. I think if you had Spartacus on the team, with more squads, I think they would be a really valuable asset. But yeah, I mean, those are just my thoughts from just playing them initially like a month or so ago. Jason, what do you think about these guys?
I mean, I like the manipulation you gave with the initiative boost, and also I'm reading here with Spartacus how they all interact and get +1. It's a +1 attack and +1 defense if you put the order on Spartacus, as well as
And
2 on
plus
these
one
guys,
movement.
and +1 movement. So you can do some really manipulating things that change stats up pretty good. But
Right.
I mean, I guess if you are facing against a primary ranged army, that probably won't go super well for you. You get a couple guys picked off, and I don't know, maybe get into combat, but.
Right. Like
Yeah.
with Blastrons, Gladiatrons, it really, and with the Gladiatrons, keeping like certain miniatures in place, they just wipe the floor with the Gladiators. I mean, I think even with Fourth Mass, I think that would be kind of hard for them, being a melee unit, you know.
Yeah, the gladiators are good. They play a bit predictably because you always put your X on Spartacus and you put them on the Capuan gladiators, and they lack some strong range support. I know VC has the Achillean gladiatrix that kind of goes with them, but I don't hear a lot of people talk about her too much. It's just they're really fun, and on a really small tight map, they can clean house because four attack, 4 defense, and 6 move, plus bonding with an additional boosted, gladiator is you're swamping. You just got to be patient and slowly encroach everyone together. So that's kind of that's the trade-off you have there.
Yeah, and I think Justin here in the chat hits it right on the head. The problem with the gladiators is Knights of Weston and Sir Gilbert exist exactly, and you see a lot more knights. In tournaments, I've used them myself at ScapeCon. Actually, that was one of my wins in ScapeCon 2 against Mike himself. I used knights, Knights of Weston are a 4-man squad with bonding, exactly. And this is the Capline Gladiators. There's 3-man squad, and I don't remember how much points per squad are Knights of Weston again.
Is that standard or? Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, standard is 70.
70?
The card is 70.
Okay, so 70 for Knights of Weston. Or 70 points for the Captain Gladiators that are only 3. It's Knights of Weston, definitely a better option, it seems like. So yeah,
and Sir Gilbert does the mini movement for them, so they kind of offset the one little slower movement that the Knights of Weston have compared to the Gladiators. So it's like and they have the human bonding champion too, so it's kind of the same basic feature, but with one of their heroes.
I mean, I think the one advantage is Spartacus. If you're able to get, I am Spartacus out there with the gladiators to give them a boost, that might give you an advantage. But yeah.
Would you believe if I told you that Spartacus in Delta
is 195?
Is 195?
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
It's really good. It's a really good army. You just have to be patient.
Yeah.
Gladiators would beat Knights of Weston in a 1-on-1 match, like I would say most of the time, just because you can get through their defense and you can get higher ground with that 6 move. It's and if you bring in, I think it's Prisius from VC, then they get the additional attack. They're bringing people down if they get next to them, but it's called the steamroller. That's the army you build with them, is you just kind of go through and wipe out people. But if they have strong range or can stand up against you, you'll fall fast.
For sure. And let's see here. Okay, when it comes to lore on these guys, it doesn't seem like there is any. I mean, they are a historical unit, technically. Because they are gladiators, I assume, from like Roman Empire stuff. So that is a cool thing. But as far as like a Heroscape lore, I don't think there's anything, at least nothing that I know about. And let me see here. When it comes to synergies, let me see here. Yeah, we got Crixus, Rotarius, Spartacus, and then lots of C3V synergies as well. So I mean, if you can afford them or do 3D printing of them, I mean, they are a fun option. You do have your advantages. It just depends on how much one wants to pay. And I mean, they're given good rating. They're giving good power rankings too by the community. It looks like a B plus, so that's not bad for them. But yeah, I think the one option is like just gladiators or knights, and most of the time people are probably going to go with knights.
I wish they didn't have human gladiator bonding. I wish it was just gladiator bonding, because that leaves it open for so many more cool options in the future. You get Major X17 is a gladiator now, and it's you can bond with him, and that would be really fun. Or you get a gladiator Morrow warrior viper or something. It's something kind of weird synergies, but restricting the humans kind of keeps it kind of milquetoast.
For sure.
Like that.
And Justin says, and let me just end this segment, because I think we talked about all. I mean, I would really. I mean, I'm looking forward to use the gladiators more. Because I've used them once. I definitely want to see how they synergize and get a few more squads worth. So I mean, for anybody looking out there, I mean, like I said, it is pricier. If you want to get the original classic minis, less so if you want to do the 3D printed versions. But let's just say, let's end it with Justin saying in the chat, Renegade, please give us some bear gladiators. There you go. And that might change the game altogether. But for anybody watching this segment, this has been taking a look at the Capon or Capuan. How do you say that, Josiah?
It's Capuan. It's because it's based off the city of Capua in the south of Italy.
There you go. There's some lore for you right there. All right. Yeah. The Capuan gladiators for your consideration on your classic Heroscape armies. All right. So now here, hold on a second. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. I'm just looking to see. Okay. So far right now, I think our other part of our team is probably not showing up. So yeah, we're definitely going to probably have to pull that full audible and get another squad out here.
I mean, gives us more time to talk about Renegade.
Yeah, let's make things up. Let's just make up a whole bunch of stuff, okay? All right. What's the biggest conspiracy theory right now? While I bring up another.
No more hex tiles. Only square.
Only squares. All figures are going to be 15 millimeters, guys. So there's going to be all figures this big.
They're changing the scale.
Keep on talking.
I think that would be that would piss people off way more than anything else in the world.
Okay, let's imagine the things that will tick people off.
Nothing's compatible. All the hexes are now like 3/4 of an inch, like diameter or something.
What if the miniatures are like, instead of this, they're like this?
Oh my god, they're bigger?
I wouldn't mind bigger. Bigger is fine, but just micro scale Heroscape figures would drive me crazy.
Actually, very, very tiny. It's kind of like what the D&D Heroscape miniatures were like. Some of them were kind of small, like the dragons were very small. It's just like, we can tell you guys were like doing it on the cheap end of things, and that just made the community so upset. Or so I've heard. I don't know. But
there's a couple of things that would drive me crazy. I think card shape is something that's still up in the air at this point. And if they change it, that will drive me crazy to no end.
So basically, this segment is what would drive us crazy the most. If Renegade announces, and this is just having fun. And we're basing this off nothing other than what's been on Reddit. No, actually nothing. But just check Reddit sometimes, maybe. I don't know. Or the dark web Reddit, maybe. I don't know. If there is a dark web. I have no idea, but I'm just saying.
I have an uncle who worked at Renegade, and they told me all these things. The tiles are going to be just like this much bigger compared to all your original tiles, so they will be uneven. Still interlock, but
my cousin's nephew's brother's former roommate told me. Giochas, salutations. How are you doing? Thank you for commenting there on the stream, or on the live chat. Welcome to us making a bunch of stuff up that is totally true, not true, about what Renegade could possibly doing, but not so. Come March 1st, and so this is just our wild, crazy thoughts before we move on to looking at another squad or hero and then I think that after that we might just give our final thoughts, which won't be much except for what we're making up, and call it a night probably. So with that, no, I was thinking one thing. Wait a second. I hear a ting. I hear a ping. A ping.
I dropped in the chat there's some AI generated images of Roman bear
grief.
gladiator for Justin.
Oh, good grief.
I am Baticus.
Oh, good grief. Okay.
It actually looks pretty good.
Actually, it's not that bad. It's
So
not scary like the last one.
It's a human bear hybrid Roman gladiator.
Oh, that'd be dope.
Hey, Jason, do
you know what?
You can just pop that into like our screen here, like as like an additional. Do you know how to do that on Discord?
Do I just share a screen?
Yeah, and then I'll just pop it up. And
like what? Like what if that is just a human, but he just has a bear mask?
Well, that could be kind of cool.
See if you can do that a second. Oh, we're just having fun right now, I guess.
That would be kind of dope.
I think this will work.
I love how you, Jason, is the honorary AI generated person.
All right, let's take a look at this. All right, there it is. Wow, look at that.
That's from Adobe's relatively new Firefly.
You know now. Okay, here's a prediction. If Renegade, come March 1st, gives us concept art, and it's the same image that we're seeing right now, they need to give Jason royalties.
Now we know.
They need to give Jason royalties.
All it did was it went to Adobe Firefly, typed in Roman bear gladiator, and chose the second generated image. This is what you got.
Like, write that down.
Actually,
we need to do this.
You notice that this is a bear head, and the arms are actually...
Yes.
They don't have fur, so it's actually like... Looks like human type arms. Well, actually, human biceps, and there actually is hair right there. I think a little bit.
It's a human bear gladiator. So you still get your human gladiator bonding with the squad.
Yeah,
but it's a bear.
Best of both worlds.
That's
oh my god! Can we get a man bear pig gladiator?
Give me a few minutes.
Oh dear. Oh my. Okay, here. Let me pop this up. All right. Oh, okay.
How do I close this thing here? Close that. There we go.
No,
man bear pig gladiator.
Yeah, man bear pig.
Man bear pig.
No, I was thinking something crazy for March 1st. Oh, what was it?
I like crazy.
No. Now this is something that would be really cool, but I don't think it's going to happen. But if they Renegade, they just say, okay, guys, you know what's really cool? Godzilla. We really love Godzilla. So guess what? For an added bonus, we're going to give you this huge Godzilla with a Heroscape stat card as just an added bonus to your game. Forget the fact that C3G has already done that. And I already have the card stats for that. Now I just need to find something big enough for that. But besides that, I'd just be like, take my money then. Here, and it's like, yeah, I'm willing, to have Godzilla destroy my entire.
That is a secret hope of mine. This is perhaps tangential, but we got nothing else going on tonight. That I want rules integrated for massive figures beyond your two base. So you can have like different modes of play. You could have like 3 teams against a boss monster kind of type of deal. I think that would be really fun and kind of bring in some new kind of dynamics to the game. Some new game modes that supported.
No, absolutely.
Bear pig gladiator, by the way.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Let's take a look.
Sorry, derailing your Godzilla conversation.
Oh, good grief.
Well, that is not even close to what I was imagining.
I think it's cute.
That's not even a bear. That looks like a
capybara.
I was gonna say capybara, but
it's bear like, for is a capybara.
It's
a wombat, or like a wombat.
Yeah, a wombat. Yeah.
I think
combat
it's
wombat.
Wombat. I could imagine that though.
I'll see if I can make him more vicious.
Justin. Okay. Justin says Godzilla -1 was fantastic, and I've heard good things about Godzilla -1. It is on my list. It is on my list.
It was an amazing movie.
Yeah,
I can talk ad nauseum about Godzilla -1, but I'll save that for the after show.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
and
I have not seen it. Wait.
It looks to me that and Gio in the chat saying that looks awesome. Awesome. And well, AI sometimes does look awesome, especially when Jason's like typing just on the screen, and we're wasting time here, because and hey, we have someone new in the chat. Hey, Jeremy, how you doing?
Hello.
We're totally doing definitely serious things tonight. I mean, none of us are sick. We're not buying for time or anything like that. Just so you know.
You're good. No worries. I am here.
He is here, and now totally the full reason why I can now keep the show title up, because we can actually start going through some Thormun's journals. So we actually went through the and I'm gonna totally butcher the name, but the Capoon gladiators. We've done that, and now we can start reading some Thormun's journal. Before we close for tonight, if you think you're ready, Jeremy, for that.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And to save not just my throat, but my lungs, because they're very, very terrible right now, I believe I'm going to have some of you guys read it, so brace yourselves. Brace yourselves for this. We have
Currently bracing. What are we on?
We're going to be going through a journal
I think we're... hold on,
24, 25, and 26.
That's it.
So we're going to start with
And
24.
Jeremy has no idea what's going on over here with this stuff. But
Start
there you
with
go.
24.
It's your
Okay,
photorealistic
yeah.
man, more vicious man, bear, pig, gladiator.
Now that just looks too realistic. That's not cute at all. It just, I don't know what that... What...
You wanted more vicious, now you want more
That's what
cute.
I was
Make
thinking
up your
of.
friggin' mind.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. I mean,
Amazing.
I don't think its mouth ever closes on it. It just, I don't know. I'm speechless,
really?
actually. I'm very speechless on this. Yeah, no words. Words can't describe the mountain that's behind whatever this thing is. It's just
Amazing.
Anyway, all right. So how about Thormun's journal? Here we go. All right. If we want to keep that bear pig just beside us the whole time, that's fine. If it feels like it needs to comment, yeah, it's this is there you go, Tales of a Howling mascot right here.
Wait, that's the
ToV
mascot?
I suppose it's probably going to be now.
Who summoned that?
That's Thormun summon right there.
That's a Thormun summon. Oh no.
You know what? You're probably not
No,
wrong.
no, we're
You're
not-
probably
no,
not
no.
wrong. Okay, NGC, get on the ball with this thing. We need to now have a 3D printed version of this thing.
Thormun would not get his vengeance with that. Let's just be honest.
Let's just say it's an uncommon hero, so you can get a bunch of these things on.
He's the
Guilt.
bearer breaker.
Oh,
He spends too much time in the library. Okay, let's get started with some Thormun's journal.
Journal entry 24.
Journal entry 24. Okay, from the pen of Sergeant Drake Alexander. So, Jeremy, if you want to start, go ahead and do those two paragraphs. So, the total of journal entry 24. Read those two paragraphs, and we'll talk about it for a minute.
I gotcha. We are camped among the ruins of Stetchavan. Its stone pillars and fallen walls act as a window into the past of this strange world. The lifeless eyes of a weather-worn face stare out at me from the monks' ruins. Those eyes of stone, belonging to some abandoned and broken statue, are a haunting sight. This is my second war. Both wars fought for a righteous cause, both enemies ruthless and vile. Yet even now, as I fight against the most horrific of monsters and demons, one thing remains the same. The eyes. The look of overwhelming fear and desperation in every set of dying eyes. And yet, the gut-churning feeling I get when I look into those eyes is the very same feeling that keeps me here on the front line. Some other set of eyes is counting on me to keep the sparkle of life and freedom alive in them.
And see that. I think that's all journal entry 24, right? Yeah. No.
Oh, that's
no.
First two paragraphs.
Okay. Then Jason, if you want to read the next two paragraphs.
Give me a moment. Sorry, I was still playing around with AI and running into
Okay,
limitations with Adobe
Josiah
Firefly.
then. Josiah, go ahead.
Do I have to do the accent like in the ToV? Stachavon is a tactical
Oh,
bomb.
I didn't even think
Nah,
about that. I was
that's okay. That's okay. I'm sure my buddy Sean would be impressed, but no worries about that.
Stechavon is a tactical bottleneck. Mountains ranges surrounded on both sides, forcing Ukar to march his army right through here in order to flood Nostralind with his troops and take the grand city of Valgrind. I am told that if Valgrind falls, so does all of Valhalla. That city is the last great place of freedom on this war-torn planet. And if it breaks, so does any hope of winning this war. Now, for the first time since I was sent down here to lead the forces of Stechavon, we have a chance to win this fight and scatter the encroaching army of Utkar. Utkar believes we are all tapped out. His forces have cut away at our numbers by engaging us in battle after battle over the last several weeks. But finally, the tides are changing. The Kyrie, Sayland, brings a large army of reinforcements from Jandar's newest ally. Not only that, but Jandar has also managed to summon reinforcements of his own.
Okay.
Earlier today, stop there.
Yeah. Second paragraph. Yeah, it's okay. You're on a roll. I get it. Okay. So we have So we got 2 more paragraphs left, and then a last line. Jason, do you think you got those last 2 paragraphs in line?
Actually,
Go ahead.
sure. Earlier today, I was caught off guard by the thunder of hooves coming from an unexpected direction. I reached for my binoculars to take a closer look and discovered a sea of white and red. Mounted knights rode towards us, garbed in white tabards bearing red crosses. As they approached the camp, the man at their lead put a hand in the air. The many knights who followed him pulled back and let their reins, bringing their horses to an obedient halt. The Templar's leader stepped down from his proud steed and removed his helmet, holding it in the crook of his right arm as he walked towards me, his armor clanking with every step. He extended a gauntlet-encased hand, proclaiming, "Sir Dupius and the Templar Knights at your service. Tomorrow we go on the offensive. We strike at Utkar while he least expects it."
All right, so this is Journal Entry 24, written from basically the hand of Sergeant Drake Alexander himself. Quite a poetic guy here. Now, where on the course of these events, where are we at in the timeline, Jeremy, for this? Is this pre-Swarm of the Morrow? Is this post-Swarm of the Morrow?
This is pre-Swarm of the Morrow.
Okay.
Because the Swarm of the Morrow doesn't start until they send him. Like, this is before they do the whole, or complete their mission with the emissaries. Because, they had to send Thormun and his group to each of the Valkyrie first to establish contact, become friends, and that kind of stuff. While that's going on, this is going on, right? So if you ever, you remember watching those episodes back in the day, there's those shows where it's like they kind of like break screen and then they go off to show you what this other person is doing.
Mhm.
This is basically what's going on here. Drake is doing this while Thormun is going to talk to the Valkyrie and establish those alliances that lead to everyone being able to send the group. And then when the alliance is formed, then they form the scouting party that is sent down south into the jungle to figure out what's going on. So all of it is pre-Swarm of the Morrow. But you can kind of see how the Morrow are getting more and more like you see why there was a problem. Like you start seeing the situation that caused them to have to go down south in the first place, because they're like, man, there's a lot of Morrow, and they seem to keep coming out of nowhere, and we don't know where they're coming from. So that's when they found out it was the jungle. So yeah, this is a really interesting piece, I think, for me, because you got to think about it in the case of like the historical aspects of it, right? You have this World War II soldier who just met a member of the Knights Templar. I mean, there's 2 humans several hundred years apart just shook hands. I'm like, I would blow my mind. You're just like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And for those that may not know, Sir Dupuis, the leader of the Knights Templar, is actually named after Chris Dupuis, who was one of the individuals that was working with Heroscape during that time frame. He was I think at the end of it, he was the liaison between Wizard of the Coast and the product between the teams. He was like working as that, and so he would give them information and like kind of help us out when we needed something. Like, hey, can you ask Wizards about this? And then he would ask Wizards, and then he would tell us what they said and things like that. So he's a pretty cool guy. I don't know what he's doing nowadays, but I hope he's doing well because
Yeah.
I think it'd be really cool to be like, hey, guess what? Heroscape's back.
Now, did
But-
was this entry written before the Templar Knights came out? Like the miniatures, the squads, and
So that's one of those things I wish I had better track of keeping, because this is like in terms of like the archiving, right? You can't really date a lot of the older stuff, and this is the same way. Like the bios, like we have the bios, we have the record of these and the Thormun journal entries, but when they were launched on the website, I have no way of knowing.
Okay.
And I remember, because I remember not. So here's a confession. I'm about to put myself out on blast. I don't own the Knights Templar. It's one of the very few sets I remain not
Right.
having in my collection. So I want to say it came out before them, because I remember those coming out and not being able to get them, but I do remember reading about them first. But that's what I'm saying. I'm just basing this off a complete I mean, I'm trying to recall 10 years, so I'm like, oh gosh, I can't remember, But I do remember not being able to get the Knights Templar for a specific reason, which is hence why I still don't have them, unfortunately. And one day need to go get my hands on some Templars because they're pretty cool looking, like they're pretty cool concept. So.
Mm-hmm. And what do
But
we?
yeah, Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Finish your thought. Finish your thought first.
Yeah, there's the last thing I wanted to mention. Really, really neat nod to actual Norse mythology that was made in this passage. Because if you know your deep lore, like your mythology, all the reading, Valgrind is the name of the gate of Valhalla, and there's this like extensive concept associated with Ragnarok. If Valgrind falls, that's when Ragnarok starts. And so the devs borrowed that concept and put it on this thing, but Valgrind is not a gate, it's a city in Valhalla. And if Valgrind falls in Valhalla, once again, Ragnarok starts. So I was like, that's a really cool neat, like when I did the digging and I found what Valgrind meant and where it came from, I was like, that's cool. I see what you all are doing. You're using those references well.
So I wonder if we're gonna have an expansion sometime down the line to where instead of Age of Annihilation, it's Age of Ragnarok or something.
Right.
That would.
I have a lot of thoughts on that, but
like what do you mean to say?
oh, I've I've been doing a lot of research on this regard. So the Age of Annihilation isn't referring to necessarily, at least in my theorizing, is not referring to Ragnar itself, but the road to Ragnarok.
Right. The results of it. Yeah.
The paving, because before Ragnarok, there's large periods of times of destruction and winter, and kind of just everything kind of stinks. So it's kind of cool seeing that they're definitely laying the groundwork for some kind of big stuff, especially in the beginning. They're kind of talking about these stone eyes of ancient destroyed civilizations and stuff like that. There's like so much hints of stuff beyond what we kind of even see in the official narrative.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And what do we think about Joe? I like the personal side of this type of writing when it comes to seeing like Drake Alexander's resolve, and you kind of see kind of like a little bit of a story arc within this, about looking at eyes of people and how that's strengthening his resolve. Do you think that brings the character closer to the player and people playing the game are invested in the story?
Of course. I think that's exactly the point. I mean, we see Sergeant Drake Alexander as one of the main characters of the Heroscape, timeline, just because he's on the box of a lot of these, master sets and stuff. And also, you see he's identified in the Thormun's journals. Thormun thought he was very important to keep in the story. He's in the battle, so he's helping build this this army to go up against Utgar. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. And then let's see here. And when it comes to the knights, I like the references of like having like two characters from different parts of human history combine, and you see that throughout all of Heroscape, which is one of the reasons what makes Heroscape very unique is quote unquote historical units. What do you think about that, Jason, when it comes to like the reference for this, whether before or after the Templar Knights were put in the game? I think it does make well. Not only does it help, I mean, the deepen the lore, but I think it gives it a lot more fun to the game itself.
I mean, that's one of Heroscape's strengths, right? Is you can take all these different stories, in this case, different historical periods brain fail. Different historical periods from Earth's history, throw them all together, kind of create a rule set that works, and have fun, mix them together and see how things play out.
Right. And let's see here, we got Justin saying Drake and Raylan are the two main characters. They were the only characters got updated stats. Looking forward to Drake's jetpack and Raylan's manticore. Yeah, if that's what we're getting, we'll see. But yeah, exactly. Anyway, okay.
I mean, those specs are on the model,
right?
Right. So we never got the stats for those, but we know that's on the model. So they will have to include some version of a jetpack-esque aesthetic. Otherwise, it would just be funny to have Drake with a jetpack, but you can't use it. It's like, no. Oh, he doesn't have flying. It's like, but he's in the air. Like,
it'll be interesting to see where Renegade takes the lore, if they're gonna keep Sergeant Drake Alexander as he was thinking in this journal entry, or if they're gonna change his character. It'll be interesting to see. But as far as right now, as long as anybody doesn't have any more thoughts on this, we can close for this journal entry 24 of Thormun's journals, looking at more of the lore of classic Heroscape. And let me see here. How much time do we have? Okay, so let's see. We're gonna do at least one more. Let me really take a look at these journal entries real quick. 25.
Yeah, these ones are pretty.
These are mouthfuls, aren't they? So here, 26. I don't even look at these things before deciding. Okay, we're gonna do these, and these. Okay, so.
Can I ask a question, Jeremy, before we read these next few?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a reason why these journal entries are so much longer than the first ones, where the first one's like a paragraph?
Oh yeah.
Now
no,
they're pages.
So this is just a fun thing. Craig Van Ness, he mentioned that he was the original, he wrote the stuff in the very, very beginning, and he even says, he's like, it wasn't very good. He says that, he was very honest about it, right? He was doing the best he could with the small team they had at the time, but at a certain point, he was then able to commission. I want to say there was a couple writers involved. I know the main one is Truth, or Colby, as everyone knows, the CEO of Plaid Hat Games, was originally commissioned to write a lot of these entries. So later down the line, he especially was in charge of the Swarm of the Morrow storyline, and so he wrote all those entries. He wrote all the bios for them, things like that. But I want to say there was a different writer during this time period who was also commissioned to create these entries, and that's when you can tell there's a change in voice, there's a change in
different syntax,
coverage, different syntax. The voice changes, and I did think that was really interesting. You can kind of see the story material, right, that Craig had. He handed it over to someone else, and he's like, "All right, I want you to expound on this," and that's when we got these later entries that just. Some of them are some of the best writing we have, so it's this is the good stuff that everyone. This is why the lore people get super excited, because we're like, guys, you got to read all of this, because this is where it gets good, right?
Yeah, this is why we do these segments, because I don't think anywhere online have I seen. I mean, it's all written down for people to read, but as far as people to read over and review and talk about, I'm hoping it's unique enough for people. Some people who are as nerdy as some of us to take a look at that.
I mean, that's my entire market. My brand is lore, so I hope it's interesting.
But I
find it really fascinating, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely learn a lot more. But I know for the sake of time and my lungs, we are just going to do one more entry tonight because this next one
I gotcha.
is a long one. So
Yep.
let's see here. Journal entry number journal entry number 25. Travels and travails, from the pen of Sergeant Drake Alexander. So let me see. Jeremy, if you want to begin doing this, do the 3 paragraphs ending with the third paragraph, laughter, at the end there.
Okay. I gotcha. We have traveled by the light of the moon along a dangerously narrow mountain path. A select few are with me, some of them my best warriors. The sun breaks over the horizon, and with it comes a new day, a day that won't soon be forgotten. While still climbing through the last stretch of this winding pass, I can hear the clatter of battle rise from the valley below. It is our troops assaulting Utgar's camp. The attack is only a ploy. The big plan is beginning to unfold. The attacking force, led by Thorgrim and Finn, the Viking brothers, catches the enemy off guard, and then, just as Utgar's army musters their forces, the Viking brothers turn and retreat. The Utgarians take the bait. Their forces charge after retreating soldiers, thinking the attack was some desperate and ill-conceived attempt at victory. Utgar's army believes that today is the day that they will triumph over Jandar's dwindling forces. They could not be more wrong. When the retreating troops reach the foot of Stetshavan, they turn and charge back upon their enemy, an enemy that outnumbers them more than 20 to 1. I can picture it now. The rows of Grut archers were howling laughter as they let loose their arrows at the command of pacing swag riders. The great troll stampeding forward, his oversized sword swinging back and forth in deadly strokes. The grin worn by the minions of Utgar as they lick at their teeth in anticipation of the oncoming slaughter. But the slaughter will be their own. For over Stetshavan's hilltops flies a sole Kyrie warrior. She lifts a spear above her head, and with a mighty battle cry, thrust it into the ground. There, at the point of the spear's strike, a towering giant appears, charging with sword in hand. A dozen more Kyrie fly over the hilltop, then 2 dozen, then 4. This gives pause to Utgar's forces for only a moment, and then laughter.
All right. Jason, if you want to, so you start with pathetic and just finish those 2 main paragraphs.
Okay. Pathetic. Not nearly enough to matter. They speak too soon, for in the very next moment over the hilltop and among the ranks ride the Templar cavalry, and just as quickly the swarming forces of Olar's Viper army join the fray. Utgar's army falls to chaos and is swept away by the frenzy of vipers and charging knights. Victory belongs to us, but not without its costs. Rumors have been stirring that Utgar himself has come in his arrogance to be here when his forces break through into Nostraland. Now it is my opportunity. This is our chance to take that tyrant down. And so, under the cover of night and during the long battles of this day, I have led my small band of soldiers through the hidden mountain pass. Our purpose is to enter Utgar's camp while his soldiers are out war, fight our way through his personal guard, and destroy Utgar himself.
All right. And let's see here. Okay, the last 2 paragraphs. Joe, would you like to do that?
Sure. I scan the western perimeter of Utgar's camp. With the aid of my binoculars, 2 of Utgar's minions stand guard. With a movement of my hand, I signal the pair of Omicron snipers who travel with us. The Solborgs move in unison and fire on each of the minions with a deadly precision. We stream into the camp in Paris, splitting off among the black tents in search of the evil Valkyrie general. Paired with me in a shotgun is Shotgun Sullivan, and I'm glad for it. We've become quick friends since meeting here in Valhalla, and I trust the man with my life. Shotgun makes a low whistle to get my attention. We've got trouble, he whispers, nodding up ahead. From around the tent stalk 3 ravenous wolves, sniffling the air. These are not the werewolf-looking types we've encountered before. These ones crawl on all 4s. Looking up, the wolves spot us, their eyes lighting up in anticipation of their newly discovered meal. Snarled lips twisted up, baring sharp teeth. The wolves spring at us. Sullivan reacts quickly, peppering them with shotgun spray. 2 of them drop. The third releases a warning howl, cut short by my sword. It's too late. The camp is astir. Our cover is blown.
Okay, well, talk about a cliffhanger. But yeah, we're gonna end it there for that entry, and I think those are the wolves of Badru, right?
Yeah,
It's being talked about there.
I know that was definitely a hint because I don't think those were out yet when the entry dropped.
Yeah, the
Once again,
artwork
I
looks
want to
like-
live. I wish I could go back and relive through that moment to like read these and be like, "What are they talking about? What wolves? We don't have wolves."
I
Have we
read
got
these
wolves?
entries so. This is the crazy part because I have a really I think core memory. I think that's the word, right? Core memory of this moment where I used to take this it was like graphic design course, right? And I would be able to use the computer because you had to learn how to use the Photoshop and everything like that. And so after you did all the assignments, I think you'd have like 10 minutes before switching classes, so you could do whatever you want on the internet. So during that time, I was on Heroscape.com. Every extra 10 minutes I got, so I'd finish my assignment. I was on Heroscape.com, and I would read these entries over and over and over because I would just replay all those moments in my head. I was just like, oh man, I can't wait for the next set to see what what they're hinting at, what fights are going to start happening. And like I started writing a lot of what I would do for like my personal projects and stuff because I was reading this stuff over and over and over again because it was just so good. Like it really is like core of the Heroscape experience is the story of, oh look, there's this cowboy who's working with this World War II soldier. They're working together and they got Omicron snipers from a future planet of robots that just took out these demon-looking things. And like you're seeing all this in your head as you read it, and you're like, "This is amazing."
Yeah, no,
like this looks so
very,
cool.
Very good narrative writing down when it comes to this, this huge battle, but at the same time you have this small little insertion into enemy territory to like try and wipe out the head off the demon, basically for good.
The two prog attack. Yeah.
Yeah, and lots of characters in here to talk about. And Josiah, what character stands out the most to you from this?
So I always think my headcanon is that like Johnny Shotgun is Drake's like great granddad or something like that. Like they're from the same region of because they're both United States,
Sure.
people like his great grandpa was a Texas cowboy, and that's where Drake is from. Or so like that's always kind of like there's like, this weird connection between them. I was there's no facts supporting that, but I think that'd be kind of a fun thing to explore. I think it's just it bums me out because the narrative is getting so good. You can tell they're building stories. They're really trying like new things, and Swarm of the Marvel is really kind of a dynamic set compared to the first Heroscape set. And I believe if we never went to Wizard of the Coast and we kind of continued, I think we would have gone some really crazy cool places if the narrative continued.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, definitely. Heroscape always had really, really creative aesthetic in terms of like where we were going, because the lava set, right? They nurture the idea there's an entire peninsula of volcanoes that suddenly appear, and you have to cross that to get into this giant swamp jungle mass, the unexplored area that they were just like, oh yeah, there's another Valkyrie here, and they just kept expanding on that, and we were all like, oh, what's next? Are we going to go up into the sky castles? We were talking about if people that have wings,
oh my goodness,
like they could build into the air.
Avalon Hill, didn't we? Like a couple years ago.
Yeah,
and
we did talk about it with Avalon Hill
we
too.
did.
But it's taking into account how they would build a civilization if they had the ability to fly and all this stuff. And we were just like, everybody was getting really creative because, huge shout out to all those aquarium decorations. But like the people that would take those and turn them into like Heroscape models and stuff that they could mount onto the maps, and it just helped build that idea of what was possible in the world itself. Yeah, this writing helped a lot with that. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Jason, what character stands out to you?
Ooh, from these entries here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. I think I have to go with just good old Drake Alexander. He's my favorite character. He's one of the favorite characters in the story.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Or the Templar Knights. You know, I should actually pick the Templar Knights because I actually have my Renaissance Fair costume is a Templar Knight. So that's probably the more appropriate answer for me.
For sure. For sure.
Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, for sure. Them coming out, and it's just that big part of that, main battle, which is almost reminds me of like Lord of the Rings almost, where you have this overwhelming force of army, and then you have like a retreating, relatively good guys.
The trick.
Yep. And and then charging in and trying attempting to rout them. In spite of the overwhelming numbers. Yeah, for sure. Joe, any favorites for you?
Not really. There's no Morrow.
There's no Morrow yet.
Yeah. This is pre Smart of the Werrow. Really can't. I mean, it's leading up to something.
He's totally not mind shackled, people. He's totally not. He's totally not mind shackled right now.
I mean, what is there to really like? If there's no like one single mind thinking. Everyone's thinking on their own.
I hope the Mario character, Renegade makes the Mario character the most expensive miniature. I hope.
That one pirate Mario.
It's gonna be a giant flying dragon. And it's gonna cost $300. All right, like it's just gonna be this.
And Joe will be the only one that buys it, and we're just gonna let him enjoy the singular character. He takes to every convention with him. Like, please let me field it. Please let me field it, please.
Totally useless monster, but you know what, Joe's.
Put me in, boss. I'm ready.
They released Nagaxa 2.0, who just has 2 sword hands, and it's $300 for no reason.
He's just like Wolverine, and just like, no, he runs like the T-1000 and acts like Wolverine.
Nice.
My shekels, my shekel, my shekel, my shekel.
What? I guess one thing that stands out to me.
You have to do it twice per turn.
Well, one thing that stands out to me in this story is the fact that, the minions of Utgar. And the fact that, and this is where, creative liberty comes in on this story, to where they get taken out with one shot from Omnicron snipers, which in the game, it's possible.
I mean, I could see it. You got deadly shot, right? That doubles at any skill roll, right?
Maybe they have height, So
it is funny that they are fighting each other, not fighting, but like it is funny because both their characters have very similar abilities, but one's melee and the other one's range.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Just but narratively,
if it was a melee battle, I would think this is made up.
Oh no, they were over. Yeah, no, yeah. Sorry, ain't gonna cut it.
But no, I've seen some sniper takedowns. They don't underestimate sniper at height.
Haylord was in a tent, and he was actually on their side boosting the snipers. So
yeah. Oh snap.
Oh, dear. Any other thoughts from this before we close this journal entry? I know there's a lot to say, still probably from this because it's just a build up.
Good stuff.
Yeah, just my last thought is if you were to ever animate like an official canon lore entry, I would love this battle animated.
It would be
on a ToV really style. Cool. You have the Templars and the snakes. It's almost like
I was seeing it. I was totally seeing it. I was visualizing it actually while we were reading it. So or something. Do something similar, or maybe do like a flashback type thing with really building a character. I could definitely see that. So yeah, absolutely. Any other thoughts? No. Any other lore thoughts, Jeremy, from this before we wrap it up?
No, this is just kind of a really good introduction to, like I said, the spirit of Heroscape. If you ever wondered why people are so excited about this game, it's just the amount of references. I mean, I actually haven't counted it, but if you go through this, I mean, there's at least a good handful of different thematic experiences all going on at the same time, and you can see how they all like work together. And it's just this nice, I guess you could say, good energy building story, because Ugar was definitely pressed as this unbeatable evil. He was winning left and right, and they were just having such a difficult time. But now you're starting to see the benefits of the alliance. The alliance hasn't even formed fully yet, right?
Mhm.
This is just the results of Jandar and Ular teaming up.
Mhm.
So two Valkyrie working together. This is what happens. So it's a really nice way of presenting. This is why they have to become allies, because by themselves they can't fight Ugar, because he's summoning thousands of orcs, thousands of these, right? So, but if everyone teams up, this is how we win.
There's a
and you can
chance.
see the
Yeah.
results.
Yeah,
right.
there's a
And
chance.
it's a nicely. I like the tone of it. How it's presented. It's like, this is the result of the alliance. This is what happens when we team up. So
Absolutely. And I think it's a good way to end it. It's like journal entry 25. This is the journal entry that if you want to get excited over Heroscape and Heroscape lore, this is the one to start with. This is the one to start with. Then you start back in the beginning. Okay, we'll build
now,
it.
yeah, and I do say, like, these larger entries that dictate actual events in the game, like actual events in the history, they help make the explanations of the land a lot like more interesting to get into, right? Because it's like those like small references are really cool, but it's like when you start seeing it in action, I think there's more like potency to it in terms of enjoying it, and you're like, oh man, this is really cool. I can get back into this now. It's kind of like, then you start digging into this is where they're from and stuff like that. So
well, that's taking a look then at journal entry 25, and like Jeremy was just kind of saying, this is when things get interesting. So looking forward to doing more journal entries in the future. All right. So, but with that, we do have to wrap things up tonight. And thank you guys for all the reading and stuff, because I do feel a little bit better from having the little bit of a break in this past half hour or so. So yeah, appreciate all the thoughts and insights on those things, and everybody commenting in the chat too as well. How about we wrap this up, give final thoughts for tonight? And I mean, if you have nothing, just make something up, because we were kind of doing that in the show, so that works fine too. Jeremy, go ahead and start us out with final thoughts.
Well, I did show up a little bit late, but that's work stuff. Sometimes it might happen. I do apologize for the late arrival.
It's all right.
And so I came in right at the, what was it, Generation of Man Bear Pig, and and then the start of the journal entries. So I think if anything, it's just like the both of those cool examples of what his Heroscape potential is, because Heroscape's always been a mix of everything, and it's like, I don't think they've ever. Yeah, obviously there was very specific themes they focused on, because they had that limited window, right? We only got, what I want to say, 9 waves total of characters before they ended up having to revert, now then to Dungeons and Dragons, then to the reprints and stuff like that. So they had really small windows to release various themes, but even then they still did a very good job in presenting just how many different ways a Heroscape story could go with its aesthetic and like the different things that were coming into it. So yeah, these are both pretty good examples. You get a crazy AI generation of a Man Bear Pig. There's a possibility there's one on Valhalla. No one, who knows? Who summoned it? No one knows. Like, it could happen. Well, but yeah, I just really enjoy the story. It's part of my, like I said, I've mentioned it a couple times in the past, and I always bring it up. It's part of the reason why I became a creative, because it was just like being able to imagine all of this stuff inspired me to continue to do my own work, and then just started writing, started creating my own stuff, and here we are today, being invested in all this kind of things. It's like, Heroscape like helped me. I don't know why it took the one game that had so many different themes to get me enjoy stuff, but yeah, it's just maybe it's an ADHD thing. You just like, there's so much stuff to enjoy. I can just keep moving themes around, never get bored because there's so much here. But no, it was really inspiring for me. So I always appreciate getting into stuff like that. So I'm excited to see what Renegade has, because they're going to be, obviously the tone of voice is going to change again, right? As it has, and that's the thing, is I'm not even mad about it, because Heroscape was built on that, right? We had three different voices who had the story, right? We had the original Craig Van Ness's writing, and then we had I want to say, because I remember someone saying it was like Mr. Bistro was the one that did that stuff earlier on, and then it went to Truth. So, we have those different styles of writing, and that was really cool. And so now we have a new style of writing that'll be happening with Renegade, and so we'll see what that's all about. And I'm interested to see what they have to share for their version of the world. And yeah, other than that, I am Proton or Jeremy or the Eslam Collate, one of the many names out there in the internet. I do lore stuff, and I yield my time.
All right, thank you, Jeremy. And Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, great podcast, guys. You know what? High five, everybody. Great podcast.
Yeah.
We're ending it a half hour early. Well, it's not over yet, but we still got other people to talk, so this could go back on time.
No, we're good.
So, yeah, well, it's the beginning of February. We're literally a month away from the biggest Heroscape news ever to exist, regardless if it's good or bad.
I have a countdown too.
We should have a countdown to my heart attack. So this is exciting times. Only exciting, nothing else. Yeah. So I'm working on a battle video, guys. Battle video coming out next weekend. Working on the Salisbury video. Versus it was G Busy versus Zingfrid, I think it was. Yeah, it's all I'm gonna say. I haven't get into the nitty gritty of it yet, but it's the shortest battle I think I've ever edited for these battle videos. That's all I'm saying. It's gonna be crazy. But yeah, I'm back to it. I've done 2 weeks already of consistent content. Super stoked that the acronym video is doing really well, and I just put out a video this past weekend talking to my buddy the Asamu. And yeah, I'm like stoked for this year of content. Lots of planned stuff. And yeah, so I'll be there probably with Ryan talking about AOA with Renegade on March 1st. My birthday. So be there or be square. Or be hex, actually. Yeah, be there or be hex. That's
nice.
So yeah, don't forget. March 1st. All right.
That's in 25 days, 1 hour, 1 minute.
Just off the top of your head.
Yeah, I totally did that off the top of my head.
Yeah, don't remind me. Oh boy. I gotta
You got this.
I gotta drink a lot. I gotta pee my glass. Okay, never mind. So don't forget, I am not crazy. I'm so crazy. I yield my time.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Jason?
I definitely enjoyed the making up Heroscape news tonight. Fabricating fake news is a fantastically wonderful, fun part of... Let's leave it all there. So anyway, I'm Jason, creator of the Tabletop Battlefield. You can find me over at Rocco Robotics. And I know in a moment here, Ryan's probably going to do a little bit of plug for the Patreon and a little after show. And I'm going to be showing off in there my entire squad of man, bear, pig, Roman gladiators. And it's vicious. I think I got around some of the military filters in Adobe Firefly, so this will be fun.
Absolutely. And plug away, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Find me at tabletopbattlefield.com or Rocco Robotics on YouTube. And they're hiding off camera, but my 3D printed miniature line is available over at fracturedcolony.com.
Because Jason wanted to tighten his shot tonight, so everybody could look at him. Less of a wider shot. All right.
So I just got to rearrange stuff to get more self-promotion and better things.
All right. Thank you, Jason. Josiah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I have been busy at work. I've kind of been not online, but I've got a lot of stuff cooking. In terms of recounting for tonight, just the lore has always got me super excited. I kind of have a similar origin story to Jeremy. I was kind of, in graphic design class and reading those on my spare time, so I related to on a deeply personal level. The lore is really it's just engaging. I think if anything, I just encourage Renegade to pursue it. It's not much work just to even put it snippets out or kind of scatter it across the web. It's kind of fun doing scavenger and hide and seek to find out those pieces.
Right.
And it's definitely if you have a personal connection to a character, it's so much more fun to play. You put Sergeant Drake on the battlefield. He's not just a figure. He's someone who has a story and a voice, and you can really interact with it. So more you can do that, more you can flesh out the world. I think the richer the game experience is going to be. And in terms of what I have going on, I am on the last vestiges of my Guruni edit video. I am like 95% done, so that will be probably releasing tomorrow. So if you're wanting to paint a Gurioni, that will be coming out. I've been talking to various content creators and doing just spotlight where we talk about the creative process and what is it to create content, and I've been having some conversations. I've done one with Joe Crazy, Rye Guy. I just got some stuff in the works there, and I am making my most requested or desired unit video where some custom artwork being used because I wanted just to kind of support artists and stuff like that. So it is. I'm cooking. I got things cooking. So expect a lot of stuff coming up for me this coming month. I'm trying to get as much stuff out before a D-Day, our day.
All right, and
I yield my time.
Yeah, and check out this all links to the description below for all these guys' channels. Check them out. Press all the buttons and do all the likes and do all those wonderful things. And yes, we do have a ToV Patreon where we do a ToV podcast back a pre-planning, pre-show, and a post-show backstage, and that is all posted on the ToV Patreon, and you can view those things only for $1 a month. You can view those backstages, or for $3 a month you can view those backstages and plus get another perk. Or you could just go on for free and look at whatever free content that I'll end up posting. I have one or two things up there already. And thank you, Derek, for the Derek is there saying, and hi, Derek. I was viewing some of your stuff, some of your Heroscape stuff that you just posted. They were very, very nice. Says, not sure how long ago Joe Crazy asked, but what I'm most excited about Renegade's Heroscape. Buying new Heroscape, however it is, designed for the first time in over a decade. Yep, that's definitely a plus no matter what. Derek also says, I've heard about that content creator thing Rogue has been talking about. Cool. Looking forward to that. All right, and I am Ryan, aka Tales of Valhalla, and let's just say, yes, I have a lot of things on my plate, a lot of things I'm trying to dole out, all the while still being sick for about a month. My gosh, it's just absolutely nuts. But this train isn't stopping. Going to keep on going, even if I have to crawl to that darn finish. I'm trying to be serious here, guys, and here you go doing okay, all right. But yeah, I thank everybody for watching. This Wednesday, probably doing more editing of my Nigok Saw short, and then this coming Sunday, which will be Super Bowl Sunday, I believe, I'm going to be doing, or I'm planning to do a fun little skirmish of my own while Super Bowl is going on, and going to be called a Hex Bowl, coined by that term coined by Sir Roguescaper right here, who suggested it. I'm just thinking, okay, that might be fun. So I'm going to plan on that this week, to do a skirmish or 10. For this Sunday, and those have been fun. People have been joining those, and really I'm just learning how to play Heroscape by myself, and people commenting, so it's beneficial for people, beneficial for me. I'm learning Heroscape, so that's fun. But with that, I thank everybody for watching. Hope that this was insightful for you, at least as far as the lore goes, and just trying to get through these journal entries. Hopefully within the next 10 years. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see at our pace how it goes. But I thank all of you for watching. Again, thank everybody for your support and comments. You have a purpose in your life. Find it, pursue it, live it. And we will see all of you next time. Later now. Good night. Night now.